What is going on, guys, gals, and everyone in between? You are on the sidelines with the Sideline guys, and I am Chris.
I'm Derrick.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm
Yes,
excited
sir.
to be joined by my guy Derrick again. We're going to be jumping right in to look at the final stretch of the NBA season, All Star weekend, and give you some over under so we could put the NFL season to bed. But with that all being said, don't forget while we're here, right off the top, to show the love to the people that are bringing you this great content, putting our heart and soul into this every single episode. So please make sure you follow the brand at OTS Media Co. and OTS Media on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like, hit the bell, get every single piece of content we got coming your way because we're really picking things up in this first quarter of the new year, changing some things around with the shows and really setting some things in stone here. So I'm really looking forward to what we got going on. While we're here, man, Derrick, please tell the people where they can find you as well.
Yes, sir. You can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. That's Derrick, the black way to spell it.
Yes, sir. And you can find me on Twitter at Negrong MMA, as well as on Instagram at Chris Negrong underscore. Got a lot of dope stuff coming to you guys, whether it's the Sideline guys or the MMA archive or realish. The list is getting too long out here, baby, but I
Lost.
love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes,
Um,
sir.
so with all the pleasantries aside, I just got to start by saying how as far as this NBA season, I know it's kind of been shrouded with the craziness of the ending of the NFL season, but how have you been feeling about the quality of basketball right now? Because for me personally, it's been a treat, man.
Yeah, no, I mean we've witnessed a lot of good games this year. I'm of course you got to see what you witness history as well with LeBron passing Kareem. Um, it's been a good season. It's been a good season so far. I think that everything is shaking out the way that I kind of expected it to in terms of like seeding and everything like that. So from that perspective, it's not shocking, but it's good to see. Um, it's very it's kind of dramatic though in a way, like with everybody kind of moving around and everything like that, and Patrick Beverly said the East is weak. So it's kind of like it's very interesting to see where everybody lands and what the new narratives will be for the rest of the season. But I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it. It's been good. Been good.
I
Got
really
one of
don't
your guys
understand.
actually.
Oh man, Muscala. Funny enough, literally the day
Yeah,
before that trade went through, I was watching. It was the LeBron game actually, and I'm like, we need to get this
yeah,
dude out of here, bro. I'm like, like I'm tired of the pull-ups that never go in. I'm tired of this man failing on boxing people out, and then my wishes were granted. Good luck. I love you, Muscala, but damn.
yeah. He been
Um,
lighting it up in Boston, bro.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Shit. I'm glad because I don't know what was going on, but um, I disagree with what Pat Bev was saying too, man. It's crazy how shit flips. Because yes, there were these big trades that really shook up the top of the West. But
Hmm.
let's be real. Last season, everyone was talking about how the East is the conference now. Obviously, there
Yeah,
is these seismic shifts with these star players going over, but those teams are still there, especially on the top end. And you look at the records, especially with the top four teams, they're basically around the same area. So it
yeah,
doesn't really make sense to me at all.
yeah. Well, Pat Bev got to talk his trash. On to some level, to some degree, I kind of respect it. Um,
Mhm.
it's just funny because he acts like he's the guy. He came into the season saying that LeBron and AD, they didn't make the playoffs. I did, and now he's going to Chicago. And he says he told Levine, "You don't pass the ball, you shoot."
Hmm.
I can respect it to a level, to a degree, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious coming from him.
100%, 100%.
You
And
know,
the weirdest thing about it too, about he was so hype about the moves that the Lakers made, and he had no idea what was coming on the horizon. He just got
yeah,
blindsided by that and had to make this quick pivot to like
yeah.
a gritty vet on this team because that wasn't his role in that LA locker room.
No,
There was a bunch of
no,
guys he was listening to there, so.
Yeah.
He's funny, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure in his head, he's top 50, 100%. So
Top
shout out to
50.
Pat Bev in his own head, in his own head.
He's top 10 in his head, bro, and he ain't the bottom half of that.
That's a fact. Top
he
two, not two.
yeah. He I can respect it. I can respect the confidence. I put it like that. I respect the confidence. But he's saying he's trying to put the Lakers out of the playoffs. You think that's going to happen? Do you think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs the way that they're constructed now? Because I mean, their change up, their switch up has. I gotta admit, the moves they made at the deadline were really good. Those are some good
Mhm.
moves. Those are some good
Especially
moves.
for the weird gaps they had in their play. I love Russ. I think he's
Yeah,
gonna do great on the Clippers. So no hate. I feel like automatically that's what people point to. Like Russ is gone, so now we're cooking. But
yeah.
definitely those new pieces have meshed in well, and they've been able to get success. I honestly do think the bar is lower, right, to make the playoffs. So I do think they'll be in that play-in. I'm hoping my Thunder fall out. I think that's the writing's on the wall there. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if we're trying to make a push into contention. So I think that's a potential team that could sort of fall out of that bottom half and LA could find their way up. But yeah, I think they're about two or three back from Portland too. So they're right in that
Mm-hmm.
mix. And the West is is deep. So I don't know. I feel like it could go either way, but I'm gonna lean towards they make the plan. What about you?
Yeah, I I don't know. I don't know. I think where are we right now? I think that oh they're at 13. Okay. I still see. I didn't realize the Warriors were ninth right now. That's interesting. Didn't realize that. I think they could possibly push it play in, but I don't think that they're gonna gel. Their team is gonna completely gel right out the gate, like to make the push. You know, like LeBron said, these are these 23 games or so that these are the most important he's played in his career. You know, he wants to avoid not being in the playoffs 2 years in a row. And I mean, I get it, but you got the Blazers ahead of them. Like, look who's ahead of them: the Warriors, the Thunder,
But
the
look at the
Jazz, the
standing
Blazers.
though. It's only like they're 2 games away from the Warriors.
They are. That's the weird part about it. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like think about like Dallas got Kyrie, um, the Clippers got Russell Westbrook, which
Yep.
to me I don't think is going to be the biggest addition to their team, but I think it's better than what they had.
Yep.
Um, I don't see okay right now 1 through 8 Nuggets, Grizzlies, Kings, which Sacramento. I told you about Sacramento. Uh, Clippers, Suns, Mavericks, Pelicans, Timberwolves. Of any of those teams, I think maybe Minnesota falls out and the Warriors push in.
Mhm.
You know, like I
Yep.
can't see the standings actually like changing drastically.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, coming out of the All Star break, of course you're gonna want to push that, make that push. But
Mhm.
AD is not like we know AD at this point.
Yeah. And it's so frustrating too because you see that the potential is there, but it
Yeah,
just never pans out because of the longevity and not being able to stay on the court.
yeah,
I think that's something too that LeBron doesn't get enough credit for because yeah, he's gonna get shit for this run with not making the playoffs twice, but it's not like he hasn't been playing 60 games. And I mean,
yeah,
I see a lot of LeBron hate, and I am a certified stamped LeBron hater going back many years at this point. So I I think it's time to tamper on some of that and really give the man his due because even if they end up not making it here, he's done some real special shit, and I think he's on that same trajectory. But the Lakers need to figure out a whole lot of shit, regardless of if they make the play in or not. Like they're not there as a
yeah,
contender in any way, even if Anthony Davis is fully healthy, in my opinion. So um, interesting to see how they figure things out moving forwards. But
yeah.
with that all being said, let's jump right in to our next
Sure.
segment called More of This. So, the idea here is we're thinking about these different teams, right? And we're going to have five different slots for our answers. But the idea is to try to think of what teams could benefit from having a little bit more of this production from this player, a little bit more of um, a certain player scoring points, etc. Just ideas on how these teams could sort of put themselves in the best position as we're rounding the final stretch of the season. Um, so I'm going to start off for this section with um, I think, and we were just talking about this team, so why not run it right back? Um, the Lakers, I think they're going to
Yep.
need a little more of a second unit being led by Russ. Now, I know that Reggie Jackson is gone. He is one of my guys as well. So shout out to Reggie
Mm-hmm.
Jackson. It looks like he's going to be in Atlanta, um, but still not signed yet, to my knowledge. But I hope that he's more in a secondary role than a primary ball handler role, especially like starting. I think
Mm-hmm.
they can benefit from having someone that can push the pace. And I think that's why they got him 100%. But we've seen throughout the season, finding the right role for him is key. And I think having a
Mm-hmm.
role where he can be explosive and have the reins for a certain period of time. And then the way that counterbalances with how Kawhi can slow down the game, I think that can be a good sort of 1-2 punch. But timing it appropriately is what I think is going to give them the most trouble. So I would say they need a little bit more of that second unit, Russ. How you feeling about that?
I would agree with that. I think I don't know, like we're talking about the Lakers, right?
No, I was talking about the Clippers. Did I say the
Oh, I thought you
Lakers?
said Lakers. Yeah, you said Lakers.
Oh
Okay,
shit,
I got
sorry.
you.
Yeah, I was
I
talking about
got you.
the Clippers.
No, I agree with that. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in though, because I don't know if I haven't seen this or not. Is he going to take that bench role
So right now it's assumed that he's starting, but my idea is having him be the primary ball handler, even though he's the
on
starter.
that
I don't know
second
if that's
unit?
the best
Yeah,
idea exactly.
yeah. I don't know. I think it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about you have Kawhi and PG out there, right? Um, but I mean, with Kawhi's load management schedule,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like a hard argument against Russ not starting. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough, bro.
It's gonna be tough.
That's gonna be tough. I mean, I think when the rotation is shorter in the playoffs, then yeah, of course, it's gonna end up happening.
Mhm.
But he needs reps with both units.
Yep.
I think it makes sense to run with the second unit, but
Yeah, I feel like maybe even starting Bones Highland over him gives. I think there's a lot of upside there. I think giving
I
him the
like
reps as
Bones.
well, like you exactly
Yeah.
give him the reps, and fall back on Russ's talent when you actually need it. Like I feel like as a
Yeah.
bench unit, they rely on scattering those minutes a lot more than they should. And once
Hmm.
again, I agree with you on that. I think a lot of dealing with Russ on your team is sort of tampering the ego, right, and figuring out certain ways for him to shine so that he isn't getting
Hmm.
frustrated, especially defensively. So this is going to take a lot to mesh for sure. That was one of those moves that I think has a lot of asterisks on it, and there's a lot of ways where it could actually come to bite them a little bit if it gets out of hand. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on the Clipper situation for sure.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, but they did get Eric Gordon. I forgot about that.
ooh,
They got Eric Gordon, which I mean, he's gonna be great for them in the second unit. But I don't know that you run like if he's the one that you actually run the unit through.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At his age, I don't know how you if that's what you do. But what do you see for this team though? Like projection. What is it that they can actually be? Because I don't see them more than a second round team, to
Yeah,
be
I
honest.
agree. I don't see them getting above that fourth seed mark. And
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about this pairing that I don't like. But
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of obviously the spacing is there, but I mean, this is also me being a Kawhi hater, right? He's slick as molasses, right? So
Yeah.
his game doesn't jump out at you all the time, but the stuff he
Yeah.
does on the court is definitely impressive. I'm not a big fan of their upside. I think there's going to be games where he carries them in a big way, and you get that, oh yeah, Kawhi's a superstar feeling, sort of like we felt like about Jimmy Butler in that playoff run last season, where he's just
Mhm.
sort of carrying the load of the team and you see his impact there. But I don't know. Shout out to Julio. I know those are his guys.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to see how they eclipse that second half, especially when you consider right now they're above Phoenix. But that's
Yeah.
another team they're going to be competing against as far as record
Yeah.
coming down the stretch. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting thing to see whether they're able to if they're able to put it together in this second half of the season.
yeah,
I don't know that they can't, but I don't know that they will.
yeah,
That's the problem in and of itself too, because it's right now. If the playoffs end, I mean, we're to start right now. They're facing Phoenix.
yeah,
I don't see them beating Phoenix.
definitely not. Definitely not.
Like I don't see that. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. But I don't know, man.
There's
So
something about this team,
do
right?
you,
There's something about
it's
it.
something about this team, yeah. But like also, Kawhi does deserve a little heat. Kawhi deserves a little heat because he did say that this is the Clippers' town.
It is though. It
If he can't
is.
get out, if you can't get out, bro, how deep have they been in the playoffs since he's been there?
That's true. They're getting out of there early and often, but they're
Very
making
early
it
and
to the
very
playoffs,
often.
right? They're making it to the
Yeah,
playoffs. So that's the
yeah, they're
big
making it to the
difference.
playoffs, but some of the heat that we give some other guys, I think we should give a little heat to Kawhi. Not hate, but heat. He deserves a little bit of heat
I
because
feel that
that was something to say, and especially knowing his health history at that point in time, like his career will forever be this load management thing now.
Yep.
You know,
And it continues. The trend
it can
continues.
it continues. So you don't know if he's gonna play back to backs or if he's gonna play, 3 or 4 games in a row. We just don't know what his schedule is. So like how are you expecting to get this chemistry together with everybody in the regular season if well in the postseason if you can't do it in the regular season? So I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing but love and respect for Kawhi, but I think if anybody else said that,
It'll
if
be hate
LeBron said that, there's going to be some vitriol to that. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
I'd say just keep that same energy. That's all.
For sure. And nobody's wishing bad health on any of these players whenever we add
For
this into
sure.
discussion, but it is a real thing that needs to be considered because a lot of that greatness and a lot of the perceived, oh, this team is going to be this year, it depends on whether or not you're playing. And
Yeah.
if you put your team in a position like this where there's a lot of surging teams around you, you could end up dropping a couple of seeds come the end of the season. So
Yeah.
crucial times for sure for the Clippers. But I'll throw the lob to you on this one. What's something one of these teams needs some more of?
Just any of these teams.
Anyone, any storyline you choose.
You know what? There's one I've been thinking about the last couple of days.
Mhm.
I think the Bucks need a little heat. Of
Really?
all, yeah, of all the free agents they decided to sign, they signed Myers Leonard to a 10-day contract, right? And I kind of felt like that was like there was no like, you know, attention on that because if Kyrie was the same level of player that Myers Leonard is, Kyrie is not getting back into the league. There's no
For sure.
way. And you're telling me that DeMarcus Cousins was out there, Dwight Howard is out there. and you sign Myers Leonard.
Yeah,
Come on, man. Like you're just setting yourself up for a little little heat in that one, in my opinion. So I think of what this team, like what any team needs, I think the Bucks deserve a little bit of heat and attention on that one, because that doesn't make any sense to me. You're not Myers Leonard is not that special of a player.
yeah, to be warranting that kind of move, especially when you consider,
Yeah,
right, where's this guy going to play? Like, y'all just picked up Jay Crowder on the back end as well. Like,
you shipped off.
where's the need?
Yeah, you shipped off Ibaka.
Yep. And he should be landing somewhere too. Shout out to Serge. That's my guy
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. So I'm confused. I'm
Yeah,
confused
I
because
agree.
Myers Leonard is not a better player than Cousins or Howard. There's no way. I mean, not even better than Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside.
Yep, I agree. I agree. And it went so under the radar that I didn't even
It
fucking know.
did.
For a second, I'm here
Yeah,
trying to figure out who you even talking about. I'm like, why should I be mad? Oh yeah,
yeah,
that shit. Crazy.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, with his anti-Semitic slurs and all that stuff that took place. Again, if Kyrie did that, he's not in the league
For sure. In that
at
same
that
vein,
level of a
then, do
player.
you feel like Dallas deserves some heat for making this? Like, how do you feel about that?
About the Mavericks
Yeah.
trading for Kyrie?
Do they deserve some heat for that?
No, 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 no,
No.
no, no. And look, I know how that sounds,
Hmm.
but no, because like Kyrie addressed his whole situation, right? Myers
I
Leonard,
thought Mike Leonard did too.
Myers Leonard, I think issued an apology, and then he lost his job with the Trailblazers. I believe that's who he was
Yeah.
playing with at the time. Um, and then he just kind of like went into this whole gaming thing, from what I understood, and hasn't been playing since. And that's been what,
Yeah.
2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years. So no, I don't think that the Mavericks deserve any like heat for that. They got what they needed to keep Luca happy for the moment. Um Kyrie already addressed this whole situation and did everything that was asked of him to, be done at that moment. So like no, I think the Mavs are, but come on, Myers Leonard, like
I'm about to say this is a little superstar bias here because I don't know. I don't
no,
know.
it's
I
not
feel
about,
like
no, it's
he didn't
about
have a
play,
chance to
bro.
atone to these sins. He dude got cut.
In terms of ability, Myers Leonard,
Definitely nowhere near 100%. I agree.
he's not that type of player that you would put your neck out for
I feel you.
as an organization. Kyrie is. I'm sorry. He is. He
Oh
is.
man. Yeah.
It makes sense as to why they would do that. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
And like you said, this probably isn't someone that's even sniffing the rotation. So what is the motive here? I feel you on that. I guess I'm not as outraged personally, right? But
No, I'm
I
not
see it. I
outraged.
see it. I see it.
Yeah, I'm not outraged. I'm just confused. Because it's like Myers Leonard. Why? Like,
For
why?
sure. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. They need less of that energy. I don't get it either. But
Yeah.
fair game is fair game. We'll move on. This one, so this one, when I was looking at it, I was like, maybe I shouldn't even do this. Maybe I shouldn't even talk about this on the show because I'm a homer, right? I'm gonna be called a homer no matter what once I bring OKC.
Yeah.
Um, but I think we need to just chill out a little bit, right? SGA was balling. He got to go to the All Star game and throw out a whole bunch of assists. That was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey, all these young. I'm loving the play on the court. I'm loving it. But I think we could benefit from some more losses, man. I think we take a step back, get ourselves out of that range where we're sort of in the play in on the bubble of it. Um, I think why not? We have so many picks. Why not just try to get a better pick and concede to the fact that this isn't our year because of the way the year started? I think if Chet was playing, we'll have a much better, comfortable spot in that play-in tournament. So I think there's not really much to strive for. Obviously, it's hard to pull the reins back on guys that are coming into their own, right? Especially in their minutes and in their role. So I understand that. But I don't know. Maybe start some turnovers down the stretch. You got to make it look not as obvious, But we could benefit from some more losses for sure.
See, pro tank.
Yeah, pro tank, 100%. I mean, the team with the most picks in the league. How could I not be, right? We benefit
Yeah,
from
yeah.
ourselves doing bad and other teams as well. So, um, I just think, why, right? Why do this play and push? I mean, I guess the experience, right, and having those guys get the
Mm-hmm.
minute in that spot, but why not
Mm-hmm.
just try to retool and see what you could do? Because I think the idea isn't even let's hoard draft picks to draft players at this point. Let's hoard draft
Right.
picks to try to make a deal, to try to get a third sort of superstar on this team to really figure out where we're going and whether or not we can start hitting that upper echelon of the Western Conference. So
So,
retool.
so if you're in the front office, who are you targeting?
That's a great question. So expiring wise, I think we could definitely benefit from having better bigs. So this is interesting because my biggest target for a while was Miles Turner. I thought having Miles Turner and Chet would be amazing, but obviously he just re-signed and they said they're not moving him. So I think there's a few guys on that Jazz team um, that obviously they see the upside, but I think going for somebody like a Kellen Winslow or I don't know. I think maybe even someone like Olenek, I think we could benefit from having those bigger guys on our team. I think a lot of, obviously, the younger players we have fill those minutes, especially we have a lot of young wings on our team. But I think solidifying the front court a little bit more, we could benefit from. But on the higher end, you got me stumped, man. I don't know. I think obviously we're not making a push for anybody too big time, but I got to think about that a little bit more. I got to think about that a little bit more.
Yeah, if you could pair SGA with another big name superstar out there that you think is on the fringe of being, like on the outs after this season, who would it be?
Man, it's tough. It's tough. I gotta look at the free agency
Not even
tracker
free
here.
agents, because you got draft picks, right?
Yep.
So if
No,
you're
but I'm
able to
saying
make a
like
trade,
people who are on the either the second like they have 2 years left or whatever. People in a situation
mm-hmm,
like that. Um, I think Kuzma's a good target as far as someone that's a little disgruntled, right? But that's not the star level player we're talking about here.
right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe a Siakam or someone like that. I think that's a good look. Does anyone pop out to you? Because I feel like there's some guards. Like I mean, obviously Bradley Beal is the biggest name of them
Beal
all,
makes
but
sense.
yeah,
Beal makes sense. Lillard makes sense. Um, I mean, honestly, uh if Miami doesn't do anything this year, right? Like if they get bounced in the second round or they get bounced in the third round again, I would say that I think it's possible that Butler might look to move on, right? So would you not want to see an SGA and Butler together?
to be honest, no, because a lot of the end of the stretch of the games, SGA is really moving the ball around, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like Butler gets stuck in that post a lot. Um, I feel like Jimmy Butler is sneaky on the Kyrie side of like bad morale guys, and
Are you serious?
his run in the Heat doesn't like because he's done so well with the Heat. Like a lot of that is forgiven, but like think back to the drama with the stuff with the Sixers and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not as bad as Kyrie, but like
Yeah.
the cloud that has followed him in a couple of the different situations he was in from Chicago um to the Sixers, but and I personally don't like that fit. But there's a lot of guys out there. I agree. I think Dame would be crazy, but I just feel like guys of that position, like we're not invested in that. Like I think they're really invested in Giddy and SGA. So I feel like those spots are solidified. Like if anything, we just need to figure out the wings really
The
and
wing.
the forward. Yeah.
So maybe Kawhi. Like, the Clippers don't make if they don't do anything. Kawhi or PG. What about them? What about one of them? Because I feel like I feel like there's a reason you guys have all these picks. Like you're not
Definitely.
choosing all these picks, right? You're trading some of these picks
You
for
have to.
sure.
Yeah,
There's
you
no
have
way
to.
you draft all these people.
Yeah. And I really feel it, the idea with Chet is like we would be contending. So not
Right.
being in that place might as well go all in. Like I mean, we've done a lot of trading away. It's time for us to get a fucking haul back. So I agree with you 100%. But I can't put my finger on who that guy is, man. There's a couple options, but nobody that's clear where their situation is just falling apart, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what you do.
Yeah,
It'd be
I
interesting.
agree. I agree. I'm gonna be tuned in no matter fucking what, man. Ride or die with my team. Love me some
Yes,
Thunder
sir.
basketball. So who's your next pick for a team that leads a little bit more?
A little bit more. Um, you know what? I'm gonna go a little homer on this one. I think the Celtics need a little more respect.
Yep. Tell him.
Like
Tell him, Derek.
as a whole, I think they need more respect because there's no way that you're talking about a team with the best record in the league and in your power rankings you're ranking them 2 or 3. There's no way that the best player on said team you consistently like he's either 1, 2, 3 or out of the power of the rankings of MVP. Like from week to week, he slides up and down. It makes no sense, right? If it's Jokic that's in that position, leading the best team with the best record, if it's Embiid or Giannis, you're looking at the best player on the best team as the front runner for the MVP, unless somebody is averaging a triple double, or you're looking at the best team with the best record and saying they are the best team.
Yep.
It's not a if and or buts about it. It's they are. It's a definite. So yeah, they should have more respect, man. I think especially when you're talking about how the season started off, where everybody was questioning what they were going to do because Ime Udoka did what he did, and um it was going to be a rocky start to the season. That's what everybody thought. Rocky start to the season, and they had a hot start. They just kept it pushing. So I mean, I think they deserve more respect, man.
Mhm.
And I don't understand why if anybody else, especially if this is like a LeBron led team. Oh, we're singing his praises.
For sure.
So yeah, I think they deserve more respect. It to me it makes sense. I don't see why you would downplay that.
I think for a long time now, um, a lot of guys are getting shortchanged on how good they are because of the presence
Mm-hmm.
of these greats, right? Where they're considered these
Mm-hmm.
perennial all stars. Like I think once again, the league is in a place I would argue better than it's ever been as far as stars and people getting this recognition because you
Yes.
have this crop of older guys that are like no matter what, they're in those spots, right? But there's a whole bunch of people that you could argue are consistently better than these people and aren't
Yes.
getting that same recognition for whatever reason. It's sort of like you're grandfathered in a lot of these rankings. Um, I feel like, funny enough, the UFC has a similar problem where it's kind of like two divisions, bro. Like there's two
Yeah.
there's the fun fight with the prominent name, and then there's the actual division where you have to go through the guys that nobody wants to fight because they're just coming up, and not too many
Yeah.
people are aware of them. So I agree with you, man. I think if you're at this point, once again, I said this 2 years ago. At this point, if you're debating whether or not Tatum's top five, like you're not fucking watching, and
No.
that this has nothing to do with his All Star game performance, right? Like this is just
Which was
his
phenomenal.
two-way performance on the court, man. So I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
what you guys are doing down over there. I agree, you deserve a lot more respect. But what do you think the reason is? Because I can't put my finger on it. I think there was a lot of admiration for you guys last season, and as far as the run that nobody saw coming, right? But what is
Mm.
it now?
No, I it's weird because this didn't just start. This is how it's always been. Like since I've been a fan, I can't ever remember where maybe outside of the fact of when the big three got together, um, and that short span of time between like 08 and 11, uh, where it felt like there was respect. You know, it's like it's always some level of some type of excuse as to why they're succeeding, or you know, you downplay someone's greatness on the team, whether they're a player or coach. But when they're out of the off the team, now it's like, oh, you're not going to make it because they're gone. That doesn't make sense. If they were great when, you know, when they're out the door, that meant they were great when they were there, right? So that's just keep that same energy. That respect level should be there, and I think that it's not. And you know what? It is what it is at this point.
Yep.
It
I
is what it
respect.
is because you know everybody said that we weren't making the finals last year, and then went on that historic run. You
Mhm.
know, to in the second half of the season, and haven't looked back. They've
Yep.
still been on that type of run,
And
even with the finals
hounding
loss.
teams, fucking hounding
Yeah,
teams. I'm saying right now, we need to make a TikTok out here for defensive plays because then maybe
they
these teams will
should.
get the love that they deserve. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that.
yeah. Just all
I like
defensive
that.
hustle, the grind
Yeah,
set or some shit like that. We'll make
yeah,
it happen. We'll make it happen.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, yeah.
So, all right, I'm looking at the list, right? There's a whole bunch of different directions I can go with this. A lot of optimism, a lot of pessimism. I'm gonna be negative one more time, and then I'll go back
Hmm.
to the positive. Um, Earlier this season, man, I was really convicted in the fact that the Pelicans have found a way to turn it around, man. And the only thing that this team needs is some more of that secret juice, man. I don't know where you guys get it from. I don't know. I think it's somewhere out in Cabo. I know Tom Brady has their number for sure. But we need to
Yeah,
get these injuries figured out, man. I think if this team
yeah.
fully healthy, I think they're one of the most dangerous starting fives in the NBA. But they're just never on the court at the same time with each other. At this point, it's a debate on whether or not Zion will even be good for the playoffs. So um, crazy that at some point they were right there for that number one seed spot. Now they're all the way, I think it's seven. So
Yeah.
just get these guys some good health. I don't know. There might be some sacrifices on the back end, some goats that we have to, something to get this team on the right track, man. They
Uh,
just need better injury history for sure.
I mean, I don't know. I think Zion's issue is, I mean, you can't say that he's out of shape, right?
Especially
But
this
it's just
season.
his, yeah, it's especially this season. But it's just his play style. Like his play style for and on that build is just not meant for long term play.
Yeah,
It's
for
just
sure.
not. Which is why, like when we were you know when his draft class, that's why I was saying, like, personally, I don't know that I don't think I would have drafted him first overall, because I'm looking at long term. Like, yeah, you're gonna get money for, you know, selling tickets and all that stuff, but you know, if you're actually trying to compete for championships, you can't put you can't invest in someone that's not going to be there majority of the season. Not especially when you're not, if you're actually looking to compete for championships, it doesn't work like that. That's why I don't think the Clippers are going to work out, because if Kawhi is out so much, I don't know how you expect to, you know, to actually win a title. You compete, you have some competitors on that team for sure,
Hmm.
but you're not competing for a championship. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, you're not. This is not about name. This is about game. You know, who's actually on that floor, who's actually playing, who's actually healthy. You know, luck does play a part in it, but bro,
yeah,
Zion is never on that floor.
literally, literally. I agree with you, man. I think it's so hard that I mean, so hard isn't the word. Like, it's so dumb that the players that are able to consistently fucking play don't get the credit for that. Like,
Yeah,
when people like this, literally their entire reputation is about how they're not playing. It's unfortunate though, man. He's still so young in his career. I'm not writing him off in any capacity.
yeah,
Like, I think this
yeah.
can turn around, especially long term. Um, but it seems like he tried to do everything he could to address this issue coming into this season, and things were looking up. But unfortunately, it just continues, man. So I don't know what it is. I think personally, I don't mind looking back on that pick, that thought process, because it's almost like turning
Hmm.
down on drafting LeBron, right? Like the same exact criticisms existed for LeBron, but he has been the magical unicorn. He has been the guy that has
Yeah.
been able to sustain being that size, that made us think, this is something that can be sustainable. But once again,
Well,
deserve the credit. He deserves the credit as far as his ability to do that versus the assumption that anyone coming up could also do that same thing. But I think you have to take a shot, right? You have to take a shot at that him becoming that player. And I think there's times this season where you could see that. Like you could really
yeah,
see. I thought he deserved, especially early on, to be in the MVP consideration, because I didn't see, even going back to the season prior, a situation where he was taking control of the game the way he was this season.
right.
So it's
Yeah.
tough, man. It's tough.
I think I think for Zion, to be honest, I think one of the things that he has to do is just kind of like, I would say, change his game up a little bit. Like it can't always be power.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, if you look at what Derrick Rose did, like the first half of his career was all about athleticism and the dunks.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But after that injury, he had to change his game up. Once he changed his game up, it took him a little while to adjust to it. But the type of player that he is right now, like, I mean, he technically speaking could play at least 5 more years
Yeah.
just playing the way he plays now.
Mhm.
Shooting mid range and kind of like staying on the perimeter a little bit and not banging in the post too much. You can extend your career a lot with that. And I mean, I know for a guy Zion's size, it's hard to say to do that, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost like, if it's gonna be a kind of a weird comparison too, because he's injury prone as hell now. But Anthony Davis, like, he had the handles and all that stuff, right? He was able to add to his game and do a little more
Yeah.
with his game. It's just that he just has like the worst of luck during the
Yeah.
season now. So I mean, if I think honestly, if Zion really focused on like the mid range game more so, and you see what happens,
Yeah.
but it can't always be power.
Yeah. Put yourself
It
in a
can't.
better situation for sure.
Yeah.
And I think he has the role models as far as people his body type and their progressions, especially with LeBron and the things he did, to sort of differentiate his game. So I agree with you 100%. Funny enough, in the same vein, right? It's funny that we end up all across the league just talking about injuries. But
Yeah.
recently I saw a post talking about, if you're starting a franchise, who would you rather have, SGA or John Morant? And I hopped in there and I was like, any day is SGA, because his game
Mm-hmm.
is gonna age much more gracefully than Jaws is.
Yeah.
And I got a
Yeah.
lot of hate on that shit, because people were saying that the player that he is now, he's Jaws SGA is never gonna be, and all this shit. But like, let's be
Yeah.
real, like, and this isn't hate. Once again, like, it's incredible the things that they're able to do. But the perfect example you were talking about of MVP Derrick Rose, like that was like, honestly, when you think of that peak, like there's few players in the history of the sport that had that
Mm-hmm.
peak of athleticism like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like it may not have been for a long time, but goddamn it, it was a good time. And
Yeah.
clearly, I mean, you just look back at those highlight reels, like that was as close as you get to having a dominant force at that point guard position than we've ever had, uh, with a player that small as well, right? Like I think he
Yeah.
paved the way for people like Westbrook to really get the reins on the offense,
Oh yeah.
because of the different things that they saw him being able to do. So I agree 100%. I think longevity is an underrated skill and talent, because it doesn't jump off the page, it doesn't sparkle on TikTok, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely is a big factor to winning basketball.
Yeah. One more thing though, I would push back on the LeBron comparison with Zion a little bit,
Hmm.
because LeBron didn't come in as heavy as Zion did.
I feel that it's
You
more
know what
so
I'm
like
saying?
the body type, but I feel you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think Zion just he has a lot of muscle, Like that's a lot of muscle that he's carrying around. And I like my whole thing was when he was at Duke, he was walking around like Charles Barkley. Like to me, that was a
That was a
sign
red
right
flag.
there. Like, yeah.
When those shoes was popping off on the middle of the court. Yeah.
That's my only that's the one of the main reasons why I was saying like, I don't know if I draft him first overall. I see why you would do it,
Mhm.
but I tend to think more about longevity and fit like that. And when you're talking about the type of game we're in now, especially when a league is wing dominant, you know, you got to be able to utilize athleticism in terms of speed. It doesn't have to always be power. Speed kills too.
For sure. For sure. I agree. So take us home with more of this. We got one more slot for you. What's a team that could benefit from some more out of someone or something?
Ooh, more. Uh, yeesh. I think that hmm. I think I'll do two. I'll kind of the same thing because I think they're both kind of like in that same realm to me. I think Orlando and Sacramento deserve more love. I think they deserve more love, man. You see what they're doing. I mean, like we're not expecting championships from either team, right?
Yeah.
Sacramento's just killing it though. You know,
I
Orlando.
really didn't see that. That felt like a franchise that was destined to remain in the cellar for a very long time before this season. So
Yeah,
shout out to my guy once again. The coaching tree from the OKC draft. It just keeps going out. It's like the player tree. It's a new thing, but the
yeah,
organization continues to shine bright through other teams for sure.
for sure. Yeah, I think they deserve more love. Um,
And
um,
Orlando, why do you feel this way about Orlando, man? I mean, they're sitting at 13. Where's
if
the
we're gonna
love deserved?
if we're gonna show the Lakers at 13 all the love that we've been showing them in terms of like media attention, I want the same energy for Orlando.
Because it's fun. It's fun basketball.
It's like if you watch them play, like they're not winning a ton of games, but they're playing hard.
Mhm.
And the Lakers, I get it. It's the Lakers, LeBron, AD. I get it. They do not deserve as much attention as we're giving them. They really don't.
Yeah.
They don't. It's just who they are, it's just who's on that team. That's why. But in terms of actual basketball, like you can see what Orlando is putting together.
Yeah.
It's not as fast in terms of like climbing the ranks as Sacramento, but they've got pieces that they're putting together. I don't are they going to win with it? No, but I like what they're doing. Bobo looks amazing.
Yeah. I love that he got the shot there too.
Yeah, looks amazing. They moved on from Obamba, so it's we'll see what they do. But
I feel like Paolo gave him a meanness too that they didn't really have before he got there, and that's rare from a
yeah,
rookie, right? That's rare from a
yeah,
rookie. So
yeah,
obviously everyone talks about how great he has been this season. So don't want to spend too much time regurgitating those same points. Obviously he's far away the rookie of the year in my opinion, but
hmm
I think the other players on that team don't get the credit, man. I agree. Cole Anthony's a beast, man. Watching him and
Markel Fultz.
Jalen Suggs is better than people give him credit for too. Everyone was quick to call him a
Yeah,
bust after the end of last season, but he moves the
yeah,
ball around well and finds guys open often, man. So, and yeah, I
yeah.
agree, man. They got a lot of fun pieces, but I think it's a while until they fully turn it
Oh
around. I
yeah.
don't. Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, it's not gonna. Look, they're not gonna do anything in terms of actually competing. Beating Boston 3 times this year is their championship. Like that's just it.
for sure.
Like truth be told. But I mean, hey, look, everybody got down on Markel Fultz, right?
Mhm.
Like he seems to kind of be pushing it back a little bit and getting back into himself, like, at least somewhat.
Mhm.
Everybody tried to write him off from in Philly, like, you know, it was
His
weird for
story is
sure.
insane, bro.
It
Insane.
is.
Like,
It
and
is.
the perseverance to still not only just be in the league, right, but be a leading voice in that locker room and really like elevate where anyone thought you could be even early on. Like obviously
Yeah.
he got drafted early in the first round, so a lot of big expectation on him there. And things sort of fell apart. But right after it fell apart, everyone wrote him off once he went to
Yeah.
to Orlando. So yeah, I agree. That's another crazy storyline that deserves to be highlighted, but it gets lost over there in the sleepy retirement town that is.
Hey man, they got good gator bites down there. I'd say that.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you? I remember the last time I've been out there, funny enough, we bought a back scratcher that was an alligator. What would you call it? A claw? I don't know, but
Claw.
we got the alligator paw and took it home with us. So that's our back scratcher. We still got it. Shout out to Orlando, but
Shout out
um
to Orlando.
with all that, let's move on to the other side of the coin, right? We already got our Moors out the way. Now there's some teams that could benefit from pumping the brakes on some things, whether that's certain players do in certain roles or even media considerations. So I'll start us off here. When I was thinking of who I should go, looking at all these different teams, there's no better team than to talk about than the New York Knicks, man. I think the Knicks could really benefit from a little less media hype. And I know that sounds silly in 2023, the year of the phone, but I
Yeah.
think all the talk around them every single year is about these high expectations they have for them to turn things around because of the flash in the pan that was the run last season. Um,
hmm
well, what was it? 2 seasons ago now, since the retool. So trying to get back to that former glory, I think a lot of Knicks fans have become very annoyed at their team
hmm
and
hmm
shitting on them in ways where I think they deserve a little bit of credit, man. So really think if this was any other time in the Knicks history, right? Like you'll be fucking happy to be the sixth seed in the East at this point of the
Yeah.
season, but
Yeah.
because of the expectations that had just run wild at this point, no one gets to enjoy things around here. Everyone's just sour Sally upset because their Knicks are not where they thought they would be atop the Eastern Conference. Once again, if you were really thinking that coming into the season, you you were in for disappointment no matter what fucking happened. But um, I think they deserve a little bit more credit than the hate they get because once again, there was times where they prayed to be in a fucking six seed. So they're doing
Yeah.
better than you guys are making it seem, guys. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they are. Um, Teams I would say pump the brakes on. Um, Philly.
Okay.
I I'd say the Sixers, the 76ers, because especially Nick Wright. I'm specifically targeting Nick Wright with this. Um, this idea that the Sixers are going to make the play the finals um because Embiid. That's all anybody says, when they're talking about the Sixers, is because Embiid, which much respect. I like I think he's a phenomenal player. Um but I think the expectations that people have on the Sixers, and I hate saying this, I think they're low. I mean, they're too high because of the fact Doc Rivers is there.
Really?
I don't think Doc is winning another ring, to be honest. And he got that ring because of the team. There's been
Really?
plenty of times that Paul Pierce has admitted that they have made calls in timeout or whatever, and he's like, man, bump all that, give me the ball.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So like I got nothing but love for Doc Rivers. But I don't I think there needs to be a coaching change in Philly before the Sixers to actually get to that next level that everybody's expecting them to get to. Um I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's happening. I think Doc is going to be there for a little while longer. Um and I you know, I don't see them succeeding with Doc. Like I just don't. Not there.
For
Not
sure.
there. So you know, that's my
And I agree with you, man. There's two juggernauts ahead of them too, right? Like there's the
yeah, yeah,
Celtics and the Bucks. So
yeah,
it's definitely not a shoe in, no matter how you slice it. But Embiid deserves some credit too. I think he's obviously always on that MVP track. But shout out
yeah,
my
yeah,
guy
yeah.
James Harden too. Like I feel like
James Harden
he's
too,
been
yeah, for
super
sure.
slept on this season, especially because he didn't make the All Star team. But I thought he returned to form in a big way for them this season after starting off the season with some injury issues. So shout out to James Harden. I think that's going to really be a chip on his shoulder the second half of the season. So
Hmm.
if his play continues, I think they could end up in a good spot. But once again, I don't see them going to be a second or first seed. Like you're going to have to come out of the East as a third seed, which is a tough thing to do because you're basically guaranteed to face both of one and two, right? So,
Yeah,
um, tough spot to be in for sure. And yeah, I haven't really been hearing the finals talk for the Sixers, so yeah, Nick Wright deserves to be in the mud no matter what the conversation is about. So many times, I'm like, man, how does this dude still have a job? Because it's ridiculous at this point, man. I agree.
it's Fox, bro.
They'll allow anyone on that damn network. You're
Hey
right.
man, it's Fox. That's all.
The clickbait channel, because I mean, who the fuck is really watching Fox Sports? Like, let's be real, bro. They
I don't
have
know.
no assets. They're the last thing they had
Well,
was the UFC, right? What do they have?
Shannon and skipping Shannon. You know, like I think that's as much as I don't watch any of these shows anymore. But you know, Skip says stupid stuff, and it's people gonna click and watch.
And Shannon's big dog in every every player in every league. He's ridiculous, bro.
Much love to him.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's why. That's why.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but Fox Sports in the mud, man. That's all I'm asking for. Fox Sports in the fucking mud. But what's my second pick here for something these teams need a little less of? Um, I was looking on the Western Conference side of things because I was thinking there's no way, right, that this pairing works out the way that everyone is hoping it does. But shout out to the Mavs. Shout out my guy Logic because I know he's not going to want to hear this. The Mavs need to have a little bit less of the media hype right now. I think obviously I feel they put themselves in a position to have a microscope put on them by making the move for Kyrie. I think trying to do whatever they can to come back into the Western Conference Finals like they did last year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel so much pressure and so much attention is going to be on them because of this move. And when you consider that you have two of the most ball dominant players on the league in your same team, on top of all these different pressures and obviously injury issues too. There's been a lot of games where they've been not even on the court together at the same times because of that. Um, I think they could just benefit from pumping the brakes a little bit, letting things figure themselves out as far as their play and how they're going to mesh together. I think when it works, right? There was one game where they both had 30, and I'm like, this is the prototype. You see how it can work, but it's a lot of sort of your turn, my turn. My career basketball, it almost feels like, and a lot of times they end up with assists as well. So you can't hate, right? It's not like you're being a ball hog, but it's a different
Mm-hmm.
style of play where I feel like come playoff time, it really doesn't benefit you as much as it does when you're playing a different team every night. When they can really hone in on these isolation plays, I think it's easier to stop. So I'm really interested to see whether or not they can figure things out and end up back on that second top half of the Western Conference. But pump the brakes, man. Everyone's acting like they just traded for LeBron or some shit.
Yeah, I no, I agree with that. I don't I don't see I don't see them, of course, going deep into the playoffs. Um, yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I agree
Yep.
with you on that one. It is a lot, especially when you're talking about Kyrie Irving. I'm sorry,
Yep.
the track record in the playoffs is not great. So I got to see it to believe it.
For sure.
That's where I am. Yeah. Um, I go the Grizzlies.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk, man.
Let's talk. I like that. I like that for real.
Let's talk. Just go do the work, man. I mean, I think those guys are as a team, of course they're fun to watch. Um they've got a lot of personality and all this other stuff. But stop talking.
Yep.
Stop talking. You haven't done anything.
The warrant.
Eh, you haven't done anything. So I like and you I mean there are teams that have done things that don't talk,
The way
you
they
know.
do.
The
For real.
Warriors are defending champions and they're not talking. Well, except Draymond. But
Draymond never stopped talking.
Draymond, that's Draymond. The Celtics were just in the finals. They're not
Yep.
talking. You know what I'm saying? The Grizzlies are talking a ton for a team that hasn't done anything, you know?
Yep.
And I think they can do something at some point. I think they might need a, little shuffle on the roster if they don't do anything either this year or next year. But um keep your mouth shut. Let's just go, just do the work. That's it.
Yep. Yep.
That's it.
And it's all smoke and mirrors too. That's what I hate the most about it.
Yeah.
They are the most clout chasing NBA franchise. I'm jacking this for the rest of the year because yes, you
Yeah.
guys deserve the respect for the way you guys play on the court, especially the last two seasons. Really turned around what we thought was possible for the Grizzlies, right? And a
Hmm.
lot of that comes with John Morant. But I agree. I think there's a real heel turn that we have been witness to, referring to the wrestling business here with Ja. I
Yes,
feel
sir.
like he's gone full wannabe gangster, I guess is the best way to chop it, right? Like I'm irked by his personality and clearly just trying to put himself in a lot of position to clickbait people and get people to sort of have these brash reactions to what he's doing, whether it's uh I mean, my favorite comment is the we're good in in the West. Meanwhile, they've been getting cooked by the Western Conference. A lot of their losses have been against
Especially
the
since
Western
that comment.
Conference. Exactly. And there's a whole bunch of bad shit on the opposite of just those comments too. So, yeah, I agree, man. Keep the keep it professional, do what you have to do, and you don't have to manufacture this hype. Like you don't, you
Yeah.
guys are already doing so well. If anything, you're just making what it was considered a admirable run, a team that a lot of teams are looking at like that's how we get over the hump. We got to build like the Grizzlies build. But now we look
Hmm.
at y'all like villains. We're not looking at y'all like the babyface team that grew up and we're excited for anymore. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're their own demise as far as public perception.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
All right, my last team for we can have a little bit less. I got to go to the East for this one, man. I got to go to the East. Um, I think this is gonna sound silly, um, but there's a lot of things to blame as far as how this team ended up in the position they are this season. They're still in the play-in tournament at this point, right? But the Miami Heat, I think they could benefit from having one less contract on their books. Do you know what contract I'm talking about? Man,
Yeah.
paying all
Yeah.
that money for Duncan Robinson to sit on the back of the bench. Um, I once again I understand why it all worked out that way, especially with how he played the season prior. But the way he fell out of the rotation and the way that a lot of these veterans have sort of we saw the basement fall out right from under them. This team has really I've never seen a team get old this fast, and I wonder if come playoff time, any of that changes. But this
No,
team
because they
really
just got
feels like
older.
yeah, exactly. That's a real good point. Yep.
That's not going to change.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Haslam's going to start getting some more minutes again.
I
We
wouldn't be
will really
surprised.
slow down the pace here. But yeah, man, they could really benefit from figuring out cut the man at this point. Pay him. You're gonna have to pay him anyway, right? But get that off your cap hit, so you can finally figure out what you're gonna do long term as far as signing Butler and getting a second star down in Miami. So get those money off the books, baby.
I mean, it's that and Kyle Lowry.
Yep. He's on last year though, isn't he?
That I'm not sure of. I think he might be, but I'm not positive on that one.
Mhm.
Um, I would say the Hawks.
Ooh.
I'd say the Hawks. Um, I think they need less attention. I think they need less. Oh, I feel a little bit because of course I'm in Georgia,
Yeah.
but um, they just fired Nate McMillan, which I think that was the right move. I I don't want anyone to think that I don't. I think that was the right move because they clearly need another voice in the locker room.
Mhm.
However, he wasn't the problem for Atlanta. You know, I think I think they might need to go ahead and do some restructuring in the front office because doubling down and keeping John Collins made no sense to me.
Yep.
Made no sense. He's obviously not going to be the guy you're looking to keep long term. I, you gotta to me you got to do something to help Trey and Dejounte.
Yep.
You got to do something to help those two, you know. And Collins is a really good player, but
I
I
don't
don't know.
like
I
the
don't even know who they would
storylines
get.
coming out of Atlanta. Like just the way
Yeah,
this all went down and how Nate McMillan became the villain not so long ago. He was
that was a
a
bar.
success story, right? Oh, damn! You got to slow me down over here. I didn't even catch that. For real though, but he somehow became the villain after he was the baby
Yeah,
face on that when they went on their run.
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's more to that story there. I feel like Trey Young might also have gone full heel turn. And since he left the
yeah.
Garden, the heat just never simmered. And now it's turned into X-Pac heat, where everyone just really fucking hates you and wants to turn off the screen at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm interested on whether or not the relationship between him and D'Lo, DeJounte Murray, sorry, has been eroding because of that. Like I feel like a big part of
Oh,
this firing um, was because of the way Trey Young has been feeling. And obviously you're gonna side with your star player, right? But
yeah,
how long can you be a diva when once again you haven't earned that right to be like LeBron trying to call shots and make things go for your team when you haven't earned that
yeah,
spot yet as far as deliverance in the playoffs. So I'm
yeah,
keeping my eye on Atlanta for sure. I think their downfall has been very weird and unexpected for me, at least.
yeah. And the funny thing about it is, I don't even know what firing Nate does right now. Because I mean,
Yep,
there's
exactly.
rumors that they're going after Quinn Snyder.
Which
There's
I'm
also
surprised he
rumors,
hasn't had a job for this long, personally.
yeah, but at the same time, like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he's the right fit for that team.
Mhm.
Like
And how much it does at this point of the season.
I don't. Yeah, I don't like what are we talking about here? There was also rumors that Ime Udoka was going to be considered for the position, but I mean, yeah, Magic City here. I don't know if that would be the
Ooh,
right move.
damn,
I,
that's low.
I'm
That's
just saying,
low.
like it's like pump the brakes on that one. Like
Yeah.
I mean, from I don't know that Nate. I don't know that he was a problem. I agree he wasn't for Trey, right? Like you're not
Mhm.
trading Trey Young right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I get why you would cut ties with Nate McMillan first. But if in the next year this doesn't prove to be because I mean they were a top seed in the East what a year or two ago, right?
Yep.
I don't think that's coaching where it's they're this far down right now from where they were. I think that's certain personnel that shouldn't be there. Um, both on the roster and in the front office. I think you have to you know work on that because you can go get a new coach all you want. Quinn Snyder's not going to be the guy that's going to turn this around.
I agree.
Like I think there's people that they need to work on in terms of the front office and that roster.
Yep.
I personally don't think Collins actually wants to stay here in Atlanta. Personally, I don't think
Definitely.
he does. Not in terms of like the team. Like I think he loves the guys, but I don't think he loves the team.
Mhm.
You know, he
Yeah,
definitely loves Atlanta. He loves the fans here. I've seen that, but I don't think that it's a right fit.
for sure.
You know.
Yeah. Tough times, tough times. I think there's a real dark cloud over there in Atlanta, and it doesn't
Oh,
get
it
talked
is.
about as much
It
as
is.
people should. I think, and it's weird too because talent wise, it shouldn't be this way. Really should not be this way. And I
Yeah.
know there's people debating what moves should have, could have, would have been made the last 3 years with that team, but
Mm-hmm.
even with that, not making those moves, they still have enough pieces that they should have been a perennial playoff team, and they've been
Yeah.
a perennial play-in team the last
Yeah.
couple years for sure. Um, so let's move on to a little section I'm pretty excited for. We got three of our dark horse playoff contenders in the NBA. So I'm really tiering this, right? You got to work up to that best dark horse in your eyes. And obviously, we can't have duplicates here. So there's room to get
Yeah.
sniped as we go back and forth. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to go through this. I'm throwing one on the board immediately because say what you want. They're the ninth seed in the West right now, but put some fucking respect on Golden State, baby. I'm doubling it down. That's one of my dark horses in the West. I think obviously
Yeah.
defending champs can turn it around at any point, and they're really going to need it, right? Especially where they're at, sort of pulling themselves out of that hole. I'm pretty sure they're going to end up in the play-in, even if they end up moving up a couple slots. Um, but that's a scary team to face in the first round, no matter what seed you are. So one of my
Mm-hmm.
my third place underdog team. I got to go with the Warriors.
Um, I think I'm gonna keep it out west. So I was gonna go to the Warriors.
Oh damn,
um,
sniped.
yeah, you got it right off the bat. I think I'm gonna actually use say Utah
Ooh.
in terms of the play in. I think they can either they're in the play in or they're actually in the playoffs. But I think they're right there on the cusp. I mean the margin between 13 and what 2
Mhm.
is what 7? It's about 7 games.
Which is
7 or 8
crazy.
games. That's wild. Yeah. So I think in terms of saying yeah they're a 12th seed, you know, I would say the Jazz. I would say the Jazz is one. I say the Jazz is one. Yeah.
I like it, and they didn't blow up the team as much as I thought they would too.
Yeah.
They're another team that's on the bubble of contention, right? Where you don't know which way they're
Mm-hmm.
going on whether or not they want to tank. But I like that. I like that. A little sleeper team for sure. I'm gonna go out east for this next one. There's one man that's immortalized by a big pink sweater. His name is Kyle Kuzma. He's gonna get paid no matter if it's from the Wizards or somewhere else. At the end of the
Yeah.
season, I think the Wizards are fun to watch, man. I think defensively there's some issues, trust.
Yes.
But
Yes.
now that a lot of their main key players have been able to play together, I think they've been
Mm-hmm.
turning things in the right direction. And I think in the play-in tournament specifically, they're probably going to be in that 9-10, but I think they could really scare some of those 7-8 teams in those matchups. Especially, I'm looking at you, the Hawks, since we were just talking about them. I feel like I would personally go with the Wizards over the Hawks with all the drama, even though
Yeah.
it seems that Trey Young pulls things together come playoff time. But
Yeah.
I like the Wizards and what they're building, man. They're not there this season, but give them 2 more years, and I think they might be able to fully end up in that top tier of the West of the Eastern Conference.
I'm gonna give you one that you're not gonna see.
Ooh, please, because then my number one pick is still on the board. Please.
Sacramento.
Of course. Yes. Damn
Yeah,
it.
Sacramento. I think they're definitely a dark team. I think depending on who they match up with, they could possibly sneak into the second round.
Yep.
Depending on who they face, they could honestly they could make it in a little further into the playoffs than anybody would expect. So I'm gonna say the Kings, man.
I
I
like
love
it.
how they're playing. I love how they're rolling right now. They're I thought it was cheesy as hell, that light the beam thing. I thought it was
Yeah.
cheesy as hell. That's cheesy, but it works. It works. I think what Fox and Sabonis are doing out there is phenomenal. I think they possibly don't quote me on this right now. No, go ahead and quote me on this. I
Mark it.
think it's possible that they can attract a free agent. Depending on who that free agent is, I think they could actually get somebody to sign there.
Yep. California,
Like,
baby. Why not?
yeah, tax free.
Yeah.
You know, they're better than the Lakers.
Hands down.
Like I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know who the whole list of free agents this coming off season,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't be surprised to see anybody sign over there.
Yep. And they definitely need it. I like it, man. I think for some reason they're historically have been put in a position where they get fucked by the refs and fucked by
Yeah,
situations where it's
yeah,
kind of like they're getting strong armed by the league almost like you're good but we don't want you in this spot right now. So I'm interested to see if that trend continues with this run. But yeah, man, I just didn't expect this, never would have expected this. But this isn't a bad pick. But
yeah.
thankfully it clears the way for the only pick, the best pick of this entire discussion, the only
Yeah.
real dark horse that has a chance of actually contending for a title, in my opinion,
Oh,
and that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think sitting in that fourth slot, obviously, it's going to take a lot to end up past the
mm,
hump, right? But as
mm-hmm,
far as looking at dark horse contenders, teams that nobody's giving the respect they deserve, I think they could
mm-hmm,
really surprise some people and really make those series drag them out wars if they end up losing or even upset one of those top two teams. I think they're that good, and I think they have players now with Donovan Mitchell that can just change the course of the game with his shooting. And this year, he really been bowling in a way that he didn't previously in Utah. So really a big fan of what they're building, and I think they're a huge dark horse coming out the end of the stretch here.
that was good. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming either. A dark horse to actually contend is a different subject. Um, Dang, that was good.
Had to hit it
That was
home with that
good.
number one pick.
That was a home run right there. I to actually contend. Um,
I think there's only one answer though. There's only one answer out west. There's only one.
Out west, I don't see the Lakers doing it, bro.
Oh, of course not. Ew.
I don't see them doing it. But if the Blazers actually catch fire, second round.
I was about to say, in parentheses, Dame Lillard, not the Blazers. Dame
No,
Lillard needs to catch
I
fire.
mean they're not gonna do much. But looking at how the seating is set up right now, um, I think the Blazers could beat anybody above them.
Yeah,
Not anybody, but up to 7
yeah,
right now. Right now,
for sure.
I think they could beat any of those teams: Thunder, Warriors, Pelicans, or Wolves. I think they can face either one of those, um, and win. That's
Yeah,
where I stop.
there's no team. There's no team I hate watching more than the Timberwolves. By the way, one of
Yeah,
the most poorly constructed teams ever.
yeah,
In modern basketball, two fucking centers that don't see the court at the same time, but are your highest paid players. Good luck with that shit. But yeah, man, I don't know how the hell you didn't say the Suns. I mean, sitting at number 5, like that is the pick. As far
that
as dark horse
that's
contenders,
not a dark horse though, bro. Like
when
that's
you're a fifth seed, bro, that is a dark horse. That is a dark horse.
no, 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 no. Because look who they have.
He's like they're the favorite now.
I don't know that.
Yeah. A lot
I don't
needs to
know that they
gel.
are.
A lot needs to
Yeah,
gel.
yeah. Plus, I'm also like, it's not lost to me that anytime that Chris Paul is like on a team that has the ability to push it to contend for a title that year, it doesn't happen, bro. Like
Definitely not.
it doesn't happen. So like I don't know. I don't know if that's I don't know if there's some conspiracy against him. I don't know.
Kardashian
I don't know.
curse. Who
I don't know what's
knows?
going on. I don't know what's going on. But I do know that I don't consider them a dark horse. I consider them one of the top 3 in the West for sure.
I hear
For
that.
sure. Yeah.
You know what I think it is? I think it's karma for being the head of the the NBA Player Association and changing the rules so that he could get
Yeah.
paid more as an older player. And then, yeah, I think that's
I
why
can
this
respect it.
run.
Like I can respect that.
Just
Cuz
changing the contract rules every year. Just now players that are 39 can sign for 4 years.
would you not have done the same thing?
Love it. No, hands down. You got to look out for
Yeah.
yourself for sure. But
I
the
yeah.
karma got to come around somewhere. You know what I mean?
Somewhere he's getting paid, he's just not getting championships.
Yep. Yep.
So it balances out.
Yeah. Should have never vetoed the trade. Would have had an entirely different career we're talking about at this point. But hey, that's one of my favorite what if stories in NBA history, man. Maybe we'll do an episode one day about
Oh, I
what
have a
if
few.
scenarios and what it could have been. But this was
Yeah,
really fun, man. Really
this
always
is.
dope. Looking ahead at the NBA season, and now we're gonna have a lot more focus on this in the next couple of weeks. So, really looking forward to seeing how things shakes out. Do you have any sort of closing parting shots on the NBA as we transition to the NFL and wrapping up?
Yeah, real quick. I have an idea on how to fix All-Star weekend.
Yes, yes. Part two. This is 2 years in a row. We're doing a let's fix the All Star Weekends bit. Let's do it.
Yeah. I say get rid of skills competition. It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
yeah.
We don't need it.
Bounce passes,
I
bro.
want to
That's what gets the people going. Bounce passes, bro. Through a fucking
yeah.
tire. Who's throwing
Yeah.
bounce passes through a tire? Even in fucking practice. Tell me who's doing that. Please.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I want to see I want to see this build up to a 3-on-3. Okay? So I want to see a 1-on-1. I want to see a 2-on-2. Then I want to see a 3-on-3. Comprised of, on both teams, one player from the WNBA, one player from the G League, and one player from the NBA. So the 1-on-1, I want to see 1-on-1 WNBA, right? This gives the NBA the opportunity to showcase the WNBA on a bigger platform
I
to
like that.
showcase their talent. 2-on-2, one player from WNBA, one player from the G League, right? On each team. I want to see that shake out. And then a 3-on-3, you get one player from the G League, one player from WNBA, and player from the NBA. Whether that's end of the bench guy or toward the top of the bench. No big names, like no starters,
Yeah.
no starters, but showcase the talent that you have. Because I guarantee if you play 3-on-3 and a game of 1-on-1 or a game of 2-on-2 or a game of 3-on-3, like up to like 11 points or whatever, you're able to, let's say 11, 15, and then 21 as it progresses. We're able to showcase a talent that we don't see, right? And to be honest, do we need this? Do we need the celebrity game? Do we absolutely need that?
It's fun. It's fun. I haven't watched it
But
for
the
5 years, but it's fun.
like, if you're going to do that, showcase some of the NBA, I mean WNBA players and G League players in the celebrity game. Like, it doesn't have to always be like Guillermo from the oh my god, what's the guy's name? Hmm.
I
Jimmy
wish
Kimmel
I could
show.
help. Yeah, he was on there
Why?
not to get buckets. I promise you that.
No. Guillermo's over here, DK Metcalf's over here. What are we showcasing here?
What are we watching?
What, like, come on, man.
Opposite
So
ends of the genetic spectrum. Just
right, right. Like let's do something here where we're actually able to showcase players and put eyes on the WNBA, put eyes on the G League, right? Because there are phenomenal players in both leagues that we don't really get to see. Let's actually include them in on the All Star game, All Star weekend.
I like that, man. I think there's a lot of different ways you could spice things up and make things more interesting. But that format is really dope. Like the only thing that I'm kind of worried about is like a lot of these people are relevant to basketball hardcores. And I think the All-Star game is kind of the opposite audience of that. Like I feel like the All-Star game is where a lot of people who don't watch ball all year tune in and
Mm-hmm.
are interested in
Mm-hmm.
sort of those showcase spots. So as far as getting those people the spotlight, I agree 100%. But when it comes down to other main events like the slam dunk contest and even the three-point contest being ridiculed because not enough stars are joining them, um, it feels weird to go on the opposite end. Like I think maybe even having I don't know what the incentive is though. Like I feel like that's the biggest problem now. Like every idea needs to come with an incentive, but having a better like the same idea, which I love, but having like a captain, right, for
Oh
someone
yeah,
who is
yeah,
an
yeah,
all star on each
yeah,
of those teams that they sort of
yeah,
draft the WNBA and the G League player that they end up playing with,
yeah,
something like that. That'll be super dope to get them on that same track. As you
yeah.
was talking too, I thought of a whole nother idea where I was like, you want to talk about stakes? Let's make some stakes here. I was like, we could do a 3-on-3 tournament, but let's do it from players of each team, right? So we have a play-in tournament. They were talking about doing a halfway through the season tournament, remember, with all the
Mm-hmm.
teams participating. This could be
Mm-hmm.
similar to that, but it's 3-on-3. So you send your three best, no matter who it is, right? So at this point, every team's involved in the All-Star break, right? You don't get a full break. But three of your guys come and then it's a round robin tournament. So if you lose, you're out, and you keep going that way, and whoever wins, this is what your incentive is. No matter what seed you end up in, you have the right, listen to this, the right to just bump yourself either up or down depending on what it is, depending on where you are. If you're first, obviously you can only go down, but that would be crazy if, for example, a team that's on the outer end of contention gets that right and then somehow moves themselves out of the play in. Like, that'll be fucking insane, bro. Like, that'll actually add a level of immersion to the All-Star weekend that I think is needed, bro. That will be so dope.
I would like that. I would like that. I would like that because you saw, of course, like last season where the Bucks, Sixers, um, everybody was ducking the nuts.
He's like, we'll take them. Send them
Let's
this
go.
way, please.
Let's go. But then you would have seen who is like saying, you know what? Let me get out of this seed so that I don't face this team. I like that.
Yeah. Give us some stakes, make it fun. I feel like that could be
Yeah.
funner than the All-Star game because they're actually
Oh
trying to
yeah.
play. They're playing for something that's actually very significant, that could
Yeah.
affect the way your season goes. And honestly,
Yeah.
if it if the number one team on each side ends up winning, then it's like, damn, this only makes the rich richer, right? But I feel like this privilege works so much better for teams that are on the bubble of contention to sort of put themselves in a better spot. So yeah, it would give them a lot to play for sure.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it would work if the top half of the conferences are excluded from that, but it's the bottom half of the playoff bracket and the next what, three teams after that
I That's a good question because
that are vying for
because
position?
if you're out of the play-in, so you're so far out that you can't even make it in, you didn't gain anything. So
Yeah.
maybe it stops at the sort of
Force
play-in line.
competition, force teams to not tank,
Yeah,
force teams to actually like be competitive. I like that, bro. That's a we are some smart guys. This is I like that.
I'm telling you, they know who to call at this point. I mean,
Hey
you
man,
you see where we were with the NFL picks. We about to come into this league and take it by storm too. Come and pay the
look,
boys. That's all I got to say.
we own the rights to these ideas. If we see the NBA implement these ideas without our inclusion or without our counsel, without our wise counsel, I'm gonna get my lawyers.
TSG TSG approved only. Okay, TSG
Yeah,
approved. The
yeah.
the TSG 3-on-3 tourney, bro. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Hey, bro, I love this.
That's it. I think this is the best idea I've ever come up with on the show. I think I might
I
just
think
resign. I might just
I
resign
think
after this.
I think we fixed All Star Weekend. I
For
do.
sure, bro. Real quick, let's try to rapid fire on this because I really feel like this needs to be talked about too. Shout out to Tatum. He fucking balled in the All-Star game. I thought the All-Star game sucked this season, worse
Yes, it
than
did.
previous ones. And I watched this
Yeah,
one. So
yeah.
first of all, I don't get the scaling, right? I understand that, yeah, the idea is you beat them by a certain amount of points in the third quarter. So they're trying to incentivize making the third quarter more competitive by giving the fourth quarter such a huge handicap. But they were not playing for anything. If we were playing
No.
2K, they would have fucking passed the sticks because it was over 21 getting cooked because of the points afforded by winning the third quarter. It's a fucking dumb concept, first of all. Second of all, I can't enjoy individual players having their fucking moment because I don't have a reference of what the point total is. Like I'm here like pumped that Tatum has 50 points, but I don't know how many points total is fucking scored. Like it doesn't make sense. It's not an
Yeah.
actual game. Each quarter is its own game. And that idea is fucking dumb. I don't like the draft is stupid at this point. If you're gonna do a draft, like first of all, get LeBron out of it at this point. Let somebody else hold that title. If you, it should be first seeds, right? I think that's why Tatum
Why?
made a point to go crazy in this All Star game,
Yeah. But why is LeBron the captain?
just the honorary captain, because he is the guy. You know, that's what it is. He's the guy, so he's always gonna get that spot. I don't get it.
We got to get past that. We got to get past that.
Like, why was Giannis the guy? Like, it
I
should
don't
have
know.
should have been
Top
Tatum.
seed. It should have been Tatum and Jokic.
Jokic would have hated that though.
Oh, he would have. But I'm saying, like, if you're talking about, because look,
I agree.
when they started implementing this, is that not what they did? The
Yep.
top two teams in the conferences, the best player on those two
And
teams.
somehow LeBron has always been the top player. Yeah.
I'm not understanding it. Just go back to team to East versus West. Go back to that.
Yep. Because it
We
was
don't we
actually
don't need to.
fun.
Yeah, we don't need to see this. We need to see bragging rights. Um, and honestly, it should be whichever conference wins, that conference gets home court advantage in the finals.
I agree 100%. No matter what the seeding is.
No matter what seeding is, no matter whoever is on that team and wins the All-Star game, that the team that comes out of that conference has a home court advantage in the finals. Everybody's balling.
At every second of the game. Literally, literally. I
Yeah.
agree. They kept talking about how the only way to make it competitive is with this new format. And
No,
I did, bro,
that
there
new
was
format's
nothing
trash.
this year specifically, there was never a time where it got to that level of competitive basketball. Even
Yeah.
when that last quarter was there, they knew it was over. They were just kind of letting
Yeah.
each other take shots and shit.
Yeah.
I didn't I was honestly disgusted. Obviously, I wasn't eyes glued. I was doing other things as I'm watching this, but I just couldn't believe that this is your idea of competitive. I agree with you 100%. It'll actually make it a fucking basketball game because this isn't it's
Yes.
a dunk showcase with a couple threes sprinkled in between. But shout out to Tatum though. I just got to say it again, going at LeBron the way he did, going highlight for highlight with pretty much everyone, right? Like he's like,
Yeah.
you're gonna do this, then I'm gonna shoot three from the opposite side of where you shot it,
Yeah.
and just fucking cooking. So shout out to Tatum. But yeah, fix the All Star game. It's way past overdue at this point.
Yep.
Whew. So I just gotta say, man, I tucked in this entire segment behind all this NBA talk just so that this wasn't the first thing we had to talk about, bro. Because I know there's a lot of pain here. There's a lot of sore wounds that we need to get through and get over with together. But let's just talk about the game, right? We don't have to do an entire 25 minutes on this, but how do you feel the game was? Obviously, there's a couple pivotal plays I'll imagine we'll be talking about, but how did you feel about the Super Bowl as a whole and sort of wrapping up last year's NFL season?
I don't feel like we were able to see as great of a game as we could have seen. I feel honestly, and you can say it because the Eagles lost. I couldn't care less. I don't think we were able to see as great of a game as we could have seen. I think the field was trash. The paint on the field is trash. Um
A lot of shit blends in there for no reason.
yeah, yeah. And honestly the Super Bowl logo not being at the center field threw me off because there were times where I was watching the game. I'm like, oh, they're midfield because I see the Super Bowl logo, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, they're like they're in the red zone. Why is the logo painted there
On both sides,
on
yeah.
both sides? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, call the officiating. Say what you want. I don't think that officiating was the greatest because it wasn't consistent, and I think they blatantly did a couple of things to make sure uh the final result was the final result. Um, but it says something when neither defense is able to get a sack. Both defenses have been like phenomenal all season, and then they can't record a sack. I'm sorry. Chiefs recorded a sack on Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts was running and he got behind the line of scrimmage and was running to the left and got pushed out of bounds, and that was considered a sack.
Yeah. Do you
I'm
think that
sorry.
was
So there was
entirely
a
because of
sack.
the field?
Yes.
Mhm.
If no one's able to get traction on the field to make those plays, you're telling me that the team that led the league in sacks isn't able to record one sack? You're gonna actually tell me that? You're gonna tell me that the great Chris Jones doesn't have a big moment in the Super Bowl against Jalen Hurts? Are you seriously gonna tell me that?
Do you think that, like, once again, I don't think that was by design by someone to change the trajectory of the game, but how do you feel about the sort of baseball way of doing things that the NFL has implemented, where everyone has their own home turf, and whether or not you have turf or grass is up to you. It's your prerogative.
No,
And having a different sort of home field for everyone, do you think that we should have like unified rules on how these different fields should be, regardless of what building you're planning?
I think there should be a unified turf for player safety.
No turf. No, take
No, no, no.
unified
I'm saying
grass. We need the grass.
grass. My bad. Yeah,
You're good.
it should be grass that's there instead of the artificial turf because of the fact that you're playing with player safety. The fact that nobody came out of that game with a significant injury was actually like mind blowing to me. I was actually stunned. But the guy who prepared the field is a Chiefs fan. So like I, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Take it for however you want it to be. I don't know. That didn't make any sense to me.
I feel you. I honestly
The
hate
Pod
that.
Father is what he's called. I mean, the Sod Father. I'm sorry, he's a Sod Father. That's his name.
That's such a fucking terrible. I mean, I get it. Everyone's trying to be trendy, but goddamn, bro, that's so bad. But I feel you on this. I don't like that a lot of the narrative about this game is about what coulda, shoulda, woulda been, because I honestly thought even with all these different things that the game was fucking phenomenal on both sides. Like I thought this was such a fun competitive game, and obviously
Mhm.
the Chiefs did what the Chiefs do, right? As far as coming back and willing
Yeah,
themselves to a victory as things come
yeah.
later on in the game. So I'm I honestly don't look back. Obviously, this wasn't my team, so I feel you, bro. I feel you 100%. But I don't look back like this season was tainted because of X or Y or Z.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that need to be better across the board. I agree with you 100%. The fact that you're dealing with conditions like that, like at this point, everyone has enough money to figure out a fucking dome, right? Like there's no reason why all these different factors of rain, etc., can affect the game to this magnitude where, like you
Mhm.
said, there's no reason why um two teams can't do what they've been doing all year. One and two in sacks, and they both only recorded one. So um, it's the only I guess the old adage, what everyone says when you're referring to the different baseball fields is like you're both playing on the same thing, right? So is it an advantage or a
Yeah.
disadvantage? But I agree with you. I think even even the stadiums that do it right, I think there's still room for improvement
Oh, for
in
sure,
different areas. So it's like
for sure.
there should be some sort of mandate from the league as far as best practices, because at the end of the day it's all about player safety. Everything you do is for player safety. So
Mhm.
um
Supposedly,
you would think that this should fall in line with that, but for some
yeah.
reason they keep letting each team sort of figure out what they do with their field on their own accord. I think it makes things interesting, but at the same time I feel like as more time continues to pass, we're going to realize that it's just archaic and should be changed. And the players unanimously agree that turf
Hmm.
fucking sucks and shouldn't
Yeah,
be
they were.
the playing field ever.
Yeah, because you're you're hurting the athletes that are out there on the field, and you're saying that you want to do everything to protect those athletes. If you really want to, get real grass. It's
Yep.
very simple. It's very simple. Um, I think, and I love watching. I love defense.
Yep.
Like as much as I love seeing the offensive players, seeing those offensive players kind of have adversity against the defense, not the turf, not the referees, the against playing that defense. To me, that's something. If the Eagles lost because they just lost against the Chiefs, like their defense came out and stopped them. The offense, Mahomes did his what he did. That's I'm actually like not okay with it, but it's like it feels a little bit better. This one just felt like it was handed to the Chiefs when the best player was on the Eagles. Jalen Hurts undoubtedly was the best player on that field that night on whichever team. Travis Kelsey even said to himself that he thought Jalen should have deserved MVP over Mahomes because he was just a better player on the field. Like
More opportunity, but I agree.
he even with the fumble, even with the fumble, it's like okay, he came back and led to the next score.
Set a record, didn't he, for rushing touchdowns by QB?
Yeah, yeah. So like, just let me see the defense try to not take him out. You know what I'm saying? Let me see the defense try to take Jalen out of the equation. They couldn't. They couldn't. And I mean, probably because of the offensive line too, right?
Yeah.
But the defense was slipping
Mm-hmm.
on both sides.
Yeah.
Offensive players was slipping in the end zone.
And it got worse as the game went on. Like
As the
usually
game
it
went
gets
on.
better.
Yeah. So look, if you're able to do this animation with the Nickelodeon slime and all that stuff, just 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 do that with the paint. Look, we don't need put the
Don't need it
digital
there.
logos
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
true.
You don't need it there. Get actual grass. Let the players play. Just let the players play. I like if whoever wins on their own merit, you know. And I'm look, Jonathan Gannon has some stuff to answer for too, because he called a horrible game against Mahomes, and that's a one leg Mahomes.
Yep.
He did not put his players in the best position to succeed or win a championship, and he picked the wrong game to show that. I'm over the season. You know, like I mean, it was a great season, phenomenal season. I think this is something you build on for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing the Eagles again next year. I think that I think they're going back to the Super Bowl next year.
I agree. And if you aren't looking forward to seeing the Eagles, you're fucking hating, bro. Because
Yeah,
clearly they were if they weren't number one, they were clearly the number two best team in the league this year, 100%. And
yeah,
like you said, man, considering they just brought the band together, so to speak, that they were able to get this far, you have to write them in for the Super Bowl next year. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but with that all being said, I just have to get it off my chest, bro. I didn't even want to message you that. I didn't even message you that night because I felt so fucking bad, bro. Like I feel like at
That
this
was a
point,
bad night.
bro, between the NBA finals last season and between this now, I'm starting to feel like it's my fucking fault. So I promise you, bro, no matter how I feel, I won't be picking against another one of your teams moving forward, bro. Not in the finals, bro. Not in the finals, bro. I'm sorry. I feel like this is somehow my fault.
This is all good. You know what? That's the first time and the last time that I'm watching my team in a championship game with everybody around me.
Mm,
I'm not
yeah.
doing that again.
He's like, I tried it out. It was nice, but not again.
Not again. No, no. Because I got a lot of jokes as I was walking out the door, and
Mm,
that was not the time for it. You know, it was
yeah.
just like I like to be able to process whether it's the win or the loss. I like to be able to process it, and I'm used to watching games by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when we won the Super Bowl a couple years back, it was like, you know, I got to celebrate that and just like soak it in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even get to process this loss. To be completely honest, I didn't get to process it. I was just sitting there dazed. Like I went to work. I had to work the next day. I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't work. I
You
didn't
were
work. I was,
you like Diggs in fucking Arrowhead, just looking up at the rafters.
bro. I was literally sitting here, just like, okay, all right.
I feel you, bro.
That mess hurt. That mess hurt.
Chest
So yeah,
pain.
I'm not watching a championship game with people again. So when the Celtics in the finals this year, I'm watching by myself. When
In
the Eagles are in
isolation.
the
In
yes,
isolation. Phone on D&D. just entirely
Yes.
isolated.
Yes.
I
When the
feel you,
Eagles
bro.
are in the Super Bowl next year, I'm watching it by myself.
Yes, sir. Well, there's no better way to tuck in the NFL season last year than by making a way too early prediction. Looking forward to next season of the NFL because that's how quick we turn the page in sports, right? You get the
Yeah.
win, all right. Well, who's gonna win next season? Nothing matters. It doesn't matter that you won. We're on to the next one, baby. So for this week's over under, we're gonna try to firstly look at who we think is gonna be our Super Bowl favorites, who you think it's going to be, what you think that line should be, and then I'll tell you what it is. And then from there, we're going to take our guess at Coach of the Year and MVP. And then we'll get out of your hair for the day. So, really looking forward to this one. I think there's a lot of different ways you could go and being realistic. I'm going to drop my Super Bowl team here first. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to make amends. I'm being entirely serious when I say this. Um, I'm not gonna pick the Eagles because I genuinely would. I genuinely would pick the Eagles, but I think I would be putting the team in a bad situation again. So I'm gonna be picking a team that has been falling off at the worst time, but for some reason I got a feeling in my bones that they're going to start figuring things out. I might even end up in the Super Bowl against your Eagles. I'm going with the Bills here. I'm going with the Bills as my Super Bowl way too early prediction. I think it's insane that they haven't made it yet, right? Like that feels wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they have to break through at some point. So why not this year, right? That's going to be my Cinderella story. I'm not going to jinx your Eagles. I know you're going to pick them. You deserve to, but I'm going with the Bills. And so,
Yeah, I'm good.
with that being said, wait.
Yeah.
So I already know the lines, right? Because I pulled this
Yeah.
information. What do you think the number is for the Bills
Oh, to actually win it all.
to win it all? Yep.
Oh man.
So it goes by just so you know the format. It's like plus I'll throw a random number out there for a big underdog. It's like plus 2,500. The biggest
Okay.
favorite. So I'm just going to give you the range. I won't give you the team, but the biggest favorite is plus 600. So you put down 100, you win 600. So that's the
Okay.
biggest favorite. Just so you get an idea of the range there. So what are you thinking for the Bills line to win the title next year?
Ooh, I would say they're probably around plus 700.
Plus 700. That's a really
Yeah.
good guess. No one's in that range, but they're sitting at plus 850. And I'll give you
850.
this is key information too. They are actually the second highest favorite. So
Oh, I thought
speaks
they'd been a
to
third.
I do
Okay.
too. I did too. So wild looking at these numbers. That it's that big of a number and they're still the second biggest favorite. Well,
Wow.
who's your pick? And then I'll have you guess for that one as well.
Eagles plus 600.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Plus 600. Plus 600 is indeed the number for the favorites, but the Eagles are not the favorite. They're sitting in third place at plus 900. Plus 600 is
They're behind
exactly
the
the
Bills,
number. Yep, they are. Plus 600 is exactly the number that the Chiefs have. So they're the favorite to repeat next season.
which
But
I expect
I was
that.
shocked. I was shocked that the Bills were in second place as well.
Yeah, I don't I expect I expected well, I'm okay, I'll put it like this. I would expect that the Chiefs would be considered number one, Eagles number two,
Mm.
the Bills three.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I'm setting it at 600 plus 600. I think the Eagles will win the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, they should be a fucking favorite. I don't understand how they're listed at three there. Hammer that line, bro. If I was you, you throw some money on that. Why not, bro?
Yeah,
That's a really
why
good
not?
number right there. Plus
Get that tax
950.
refund.
Yeah, right there. A little just wait on it till next season. It's just money in the
Yeah,
bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff, man. Next up, MVP. I don't have so this one sucks. I don't have any numbers here as far as prop bets. They haven't put those out yet because I think there's some players that are in that conversation that you don't even know what team they're going to be on next season.
Right,
So
right.
we're going to make our own numbers here. So I'll be able to join you this time since there's no number. So we're going to say who it is and what we think the line should be for them to be the MVP next season.
Oh, oof. I'm going Jalen Hurts.
Yep. That's a great pick. That's a great pick.
I'm going Jalen Hurts. Ooh, I don't know what to set that at, but I'd set it at favorite.
I
Because
like it.
honestly, like when we had this conversation last year, that's who I was going to choose to be MVP. But I told Matt, despite his pick, I was going to pick Josh Allen.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts. To me, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna let bias steer me away. That was my pick this year as well. The way he shined this season has been fucking insane. So I can't imagine what it's gonna be like building off of this season with the same group of coaches. I mean, obviously getting in new guys on the defensive end, but offensively, oh, Kellen Winslow's did Kellen Winslow go as
Uh, you talking about our coordinator?
no. I'm asking about the Cowboys coordinator. Did he go? Did he leave?
Oh yeah, they let him go. They
Yeah.
let him go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
let him
fired him.
go. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then your coordinator, he went on to a different opportunity, correct?
yeah, Indianapolis. Yep.
Damn, so they stripped you on both ends of the coaching spectrum, offense and defense. Is there a
Well,
front runner for that gig yet, or did someone step in?
Jalen Hurts' QB coach is in line to be the next offensive coordinator. I think
Okay,
he'll get the job. So
for
it's
sure.
going to be a seamless transition. I don't think there's going to be any issue with that.
Gotcha.
Defensive coordinator, I don't know who. To
Mhm.
be honest, I would choose. I would at least, at minimum, interview Brian Dawkins.
I saw that as well. He was making some comments about Gannon's performance in the Super Bowl. I agree. Why not? Right? Give him a shot.
Why not?
It might be a Jeff
If he
Saturday
wants
kind
it,
of situation, but it ain't your head coach, so why not?
yeah, not it. But if he wants it, right? Like I think he has the ability to view the game from from a great perspective and that intensity. Like I just want that intensity in the room.
Dude,
I
and you
don't
already
care if
have
he's
it without him, so yeah,
that's
100%.
yeah yeah. I don't care what he does. To be honest, I just want him in that room. I
Yep.
want him to pump those guys up because I got hyped up. I wanted to run through a brick wall just watching one of his videos.
Yeah. Ultimate hype man guy for sure. He's on
Yeah,
the list with people like my one of my goats, Ray Lewis. But I gotta ask you before we move on to our coach of the year, because we're both going Jalen Hurts here. Um, if there's one player out of all the free agents for the Eagles this season, who do you need to re-sign right now? Who is the one person, no matter what, y'all got to make sure y'all get back?
Garner Johnson.
Great shout. Yep, great shout. The most underrated player on your defense, hands down.
Garner Johnson. To me,
Okay.
he's if you don't have him at least at minimum like top three safeties in the league,
You're biased, and you don't.
I
You're not watching.
people people aren't watching. People
Yeah.
aren't watching. He I think he was tied for interceptions in the league this year, and he
Yep.
missed like 4 games.
He was up there for tackles as well. Yeah, literally. Probably would have been your highest tackler had he not been out all those games, which
Yeah,
is insane.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta sign him. You gotta
And
resign him.
then 1B is Bradbury, right? It's that one too.
I mean, I want him, but he wants top dollar. At his
Mhm.
age, you're not paying him top dollar.
For
So,
sure. Especially
um,
especially after that big fuck up in the fucking
well, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't call that. I don't. You don't make that call. That's one. It's not a catchable pass. Two, you let it go in the like. But for that, you don't call it at that point. At that point, that's a crucial point in the game. That's like that wasn't within 2 minutes, right? Last 2 minutes
Yeah.
of the fourth quarter. You let it go, So I actually don't blame Bradbury too much on that one. I get it, but I don't blame him on that. I think the second guy that you have to re-sign, I would love Hargrave to come back, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to. I don't know if they're going to do it.
It's a big off season. I will admit,
It's a
it's a
big
big
off.
off
It is a
season.
big off season, but I think the guys that are leaving, they already have the replacements there. So it's like
Yeah.
you're not like
It
going
could
into a
be a
slump.
case where you're opening up a position for someone versus we lost such a big thing. So
Yeah.
I agree.
Honestly, Bobby Wagner, I would go after Bobby Wagner.
Hell yeah. What do you think the story is on that? Didn't he sign a
I
long term
don't
deal?
know. No.
I could have swore it wasn't a 1 year deal.
I thought it was like a 2 year deal,
Yeah,
but they mutually decided to part ways. I don't know why that is. I'd go get him. I go get Bobby Wagner. I mean, I know he's got a lot of injuries, at this stage of his game, but go get him.
for sure. He's a difference maker for sure.
Yeah.
Does that decision automatically mean that Aaron Donald is retiring? Is that what that is?
Aaron Donald should have retired after the Super Bowl.
For sure. For sure.
So
It's kind of sad they made him play the whole season. I would have been like, yo, just let me sit the last couple
let
at
me
least,
sit down.
bro. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
I
agree.
I, I personally, yeah. Maybe it does signal he's gone. I
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing in Los Angeles, bro.
I don't
I don't
think
know
they
what
do
they.
either.
I don't know.
Somehow Sean
Yeah,
McVay will still be considered one of the best coaches in the league, even if they shit the bed again all season next season. But
yeah,
we
yeah.
shall
I'm
see.
not sure.
Time will tell.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure, but it's gonna be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Let's get out of here. We got our last one, Coach of the Year. This one's fun, man. There's a lot of different options, a lot of sleepy options. Obviously, a lot of jobs that still haven't even been filled, right? So
yeah.
kind of hard to place it. But I'm not even gonna speculate, right? It doesn't even matter who's in this seat. Whoever the fuck is coaching the Denver Broncos, it's gonna be better than what the fuck y'all had. No matter who it is, it's gonna be better. So that's
Oh,
my pick.
um, Sean Payton.
Is that confirmed?
No, he's already there.
What the fuck? That's confirmed? God damn.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
where have I been? Really? I
yeah.
thought that was like rumored.
Nah, they traded a pick for him.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
so
they they
weird
they,
that
they
you
got
can
him.
trade a coach.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's
but
really
they
fuck.
they
That
had his rights. So
didn't even coach last season. Like that's
yeah,
so
they
weird.
they had his rights, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
he's
I'm definitely
there.
going Sean Payton. What the hell? That's 100%.
I'm
I
going
would
Doug
say he should
Peterson.
probably be a favorite, to be honest. Oh, that's a really good shout too. I
I
don't
don't
think
know that
no
he
the
should be a favorite.
best team in the conference never gets that respect as far as
No,
coach of the year, and they should.
no, no, no. I'm going Doug Peterson though. I think what he did this year was phenomenal. He's a phenomenal coach. So
Yeah,
they're gonna only get better down there in Jacksonville. So I'm going Doug Peterson as an early pick.
I love it. I love it. But with all that being said, we tucked her in, we put her to bed, and now we'll come back once the off season starts a bubbling because I'm sure once players start signing and dominoes start falling, things will get real interesting again. That's my favorite part of any NFL season, to be honest, seeing where
Yes,
everything
sir.
shakes out in the off season. So man, a great NFL season wrapped up. We got a great finish line of the NBA season to look forward to. This episode was dope, man. I had a lot of fun doing
Yeah,
this. Once again, showing
yeah.
the range, baby. We got to show the
Yes,
range on
sir.
TSG.
Yes, sir.
So
We got that
if you
Steph
could,
Curry range here
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's Dame time all at once. Please
all at
tell them
once.
once again where they could find you before we head out.
Yes. Once again, you can follow me at Derrick_OTS. That's DERRICK, the black way to spell it. But most importantly, follow the brand at OTS Media Co. All social media platforms, OTS Media on YouTube. Hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. Get subscribe to us. And all the other shows. wherever you get your podcasts. OTS is a network. I think people, either don't know that or forget that. OTS is a network of shows. We have quite a few shows here. A couple that Chris is on as well. The MMA Archive, Realish, dope content. So if you want informative content with personality, spunk, and facts behind them, you're gonna look at OTS. So yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. As always, it's always a fucking pleasure. Thank you guys for tuning in. It means the world to us, literally. The fact that anyone would tune in, let alone reach out and talk shit and let us know what's going on and how they feel about what we were saying. We're gonna look to reward you guys real soon. We're gonna have a segment on here for a lot of the more outspoken fans on the Facebook page to get their thoughts on the show too, because we
Yes,
hear
sir.
you. We hear you. I may not be on Facebook, but I'm still looking. I don't know. I might have one of those, one of the KD burners that he had on Twitter.
Yeah.
I got one on Facebook. I'm gonna have to get into that real active. But once again, thank you guys for listening as always, and looking forward to the next one. You have a good one.